The difference when we both switch the lights on is like drastic.
It is. It's
like,
massive.
yeah, it's good. But top 3 investments you've ever made, in my opinion.
It is. It's up there.
It's very good. We're back again. Hello, everyone. Wait for people to flood in on everyone's. Hope everyone is enjoying their lovely Wednesday afternoon, evening, 7 p.m. evening. Would you say?
Oh, it's evening. Yeah.
Okay, here's a question. Quick question before we start. Where's your cutoff point for afternoon and evening? I'm a strict 5 o'clock man.
I was going to say 5 o'clock.
Yeah, everything post 5 o'clock is evening.
Yeah.
Maybe 5:30 if it's in summer. But yeah, everything and then everything pre is afternoon. Everything pre is afternoon. I hate when people say good afternoon and it's like 6 o'clock. It's like no, it's night. I don't care if the sun's still out. It's night. This is unbelievable football coverage that you get just exclusively on this show. But I hope everyone is well. I'm joined as always by Nathan. How are you, my friend? As we are getting increasingly more depressed, would you say? Demoralized? What would you say based on the events of the weekend, which we don't normally touch on, but we'll just do it briefly.
So it's weird to think Friday was 5 nights ago.
Yeah,
but I feel like it can't get any worse, but it does. It does.
Yeah, we'll lose on Sunday, and then we'll come here next week and be even more depressed. But apart from that, how was your weekend? How was all your NAB League stuff that you do?
Yeah, well, Saturday I was reduced to watching it on the phone, which is no fun if there's no other alternative. For whatever reason, they don't stream it on the AFL website, so you only can watch it on the app. So for someone who doesn't have an iPad, it is quite a tough watch sometimes. So 5 hours of that was not the most ideal way to spend Saturday, but this Sunday was a bit better out at the grounds. So and those weren't good games either. So look, it wasn't a thrilling weekend, I must say.
Fair enough, and it comes with the territory. Any players caught your eye that over the weekends? Who are Carlton going to get a pick one?
Seriously, it was one of the worst weekends of Talent League footy this year. And there were some good performances, but geez, tough watch this weekend. But Vic Metro was just announced, so that's something. And the championship just got underway. So if you're interested in the draft, Vic Metro play on Sunday morning against SA. So that's something to watch out for.
Very good. Very nice. I'm glad you had... my weekend was good. It was all right. Just after Friday night. When you lose on a Friday, you're just depressed. Just depressed. Great. So that wasn't great, but, could be worse. We could be... it could be worse. Could be a West Coast supporter. They suck. They suck. And we're not going to speak about them, fortunately. Otherwise, we'd probably go even more insane. But, got quite a few things to speak about as we get underway. Some talking points in which have been floated throughout the media, which we'll touch on Sunday's games, which was obviously very entertaining, and I know you watched them both in depthly. So there's that, and then also, of course, 2 teams which are actually quite good, or we'll try to decipher whether or not they're good or not, and then obviously 2 teams have the bye, so we'll be touching on their kind of bye round assessment. But let's kick things off. Let's actually kick things off by speaking about Good evening, Paul. How are you, my friend? Let's kick things off by speaking about the Northern Suns. Now, this is something that wasn't heavily floated throughout the week or throughout the media. It was touched on, and I feel like this is one of the suggestions that I actually don't mind. Normally, when the media come up with suggestions, it's bullshit like, oh, let's play the showdown at Marvel Stadium or some other thing like that, but that makes no sense. I actually don't mind the Northern Suns, considering obviously the Suns played this round and last round at Terro Stadium, which is in Darwin, if I'm not mistaken. So what are your... this is, like I said, this is one of the few suggestions the media makes in which I'm like, you know what, there's actually some merit behind this, because obviously with Tassie coming in the 19th team, there's obviously like, oh, are we going to get a 20th team in Darwin or in 20th team in Darwin or in Central Australia or wherever? What's your kind of consensus, maybe, or what's your thoughts on this? Because one of the few media suggestions that I actually think is not bad.
I was originally on board with the idea when I saw it. I thought it wouldn't be a bad rebrand, but then you have to take into consideration that Brisbane are technically part of the north of the country. But it's interesting because, I mean, if you called them the Northern Suns, it would probably make you think it's more of a Northern Territory team. But I
Yeah,
don't mind
yeah,
it. It's not the worst. And in terms of rebranding to get more of a fan base, it wouldn't be the worst decision. And the support would be there as well, especially in the NT, etc. That they come and they love watching their footy. And I guess it would probably mean they have to sell a couple of their games to like Cairns as well.
yeah.
Even Townsville, they haven't played there for a couple of years now. But look, I don't know. It wouldn't be the worst decision, but it would mess. Like then they'd be playing out of like 4 different home grounds throughout the year, and then they're
Yeah.
losing money on those grounds. So I could see why it would probably never happen, but it's not the worst concept to be brought up.
Well, like I mean, we all know you're a massive fan of expansion teams.
Yeah,
Massive fan. You love expansion teams.
I
Obviously,
love them.
Gold Coast is the footballing hub. Of Australia. It's the football's home. It's the second name. So it would obviously be risky taking away such a big franchise as the Gold Coast Suns away from Gold Coast. I think this puts into a bigger perspective. I know you hate the Giants, right? I know you
Yeah,
despise them. If you had to rebrand them, obviously we're thinking of rebranding the Suns into the Northern Suns and kind of expanding that area. If you were to rebrand another team, we'll use the Giants, or you can pick
yeah.
another team. You can pick another team. Where would you?
No,
What,
I'll
what,
stick with GWS.
of course, I'm shocked to no one who's watched this show. I'm flabbergasted by that. If you were to rebrand them, not disband them, because I know you hate them and just want to get rid of them.
Yeah.
Where would you relocate them to?
Well, I think the obvious answer would be Canberra. Like,
Really? Would it be?
yeah, well, see, I
Canberra's a big
wouldn't.
rugby town. It's a big rugby town.
It is a big rugby town, but they always turn up when they play at Monaco. Although I did read comments on Facebook saying that, I've never met a person from Canberra that's actually paid for their tickets to watch the game. So it makes me think, well, maybe they don't actually care.
Yeah, maybe it's a
But
loyalty.
I don't know because I don't really know you can't really name them like the ACT something Giants. Like that
The
doesn't
Australian
work at
Capital
all.
Territory Giants. That's it.
Yeah,
Doesn't
like
really
it
roll off
doesn't.
the tongue, does it? A bit of,
Oh,
yeah,
well, GWA's ACT, same thing. Yeah, I don't know. It's just more. I guess technically the people from Canberra are part of that Western Sydney, even though it's not part of Sydney. But I guess by them playing their matches, I don't know. You say even we'll go back A-League days, right? North Queensland Furies, much as they amounted to nothing, right? North Queensland gives you a lot of scope.
yeah. It's a very broad. It's very broad.
Yeah.
Yeah, you market it
So
to a lot of people. That would be like one Perth team coming in and just being called Western Australia. Like you market it to quite
yeah.
a big population, right?
So it's well, but even I, I think the Dogs did the right thing. I mean, going to the Western Bulldogs.
Yeah, yeah.
I reckon. I mean, I doubt there's a statistic, but like you would assume that would have picked up a lot more people in the western suburbs. So
Yeah.
it does that whole northern western giving it an area does actually help. But I just don't know what I would rename the Giants to. But just something including that sort of Canberra area. The only way you're going to get people to turn up to Giants games is if you call them the Parramatta Eels and then just chuck a G on their thing, mate. It's not happening. It will never happen. So I don't get me riled up with this team again. But
Yeah, your hate for the Giants has really quite developed into something. It's like a mutation. It's like it's just gone bang. That's completely thrown me off my next point. Oh yeah, that's what I was going to say. So you know how in like the Premier League and stuff, and in like football, maybe not in
yeah,
Australia, but in Europe, it's like you have Liverpool and you have Manchester United, and you have teams based on towns, and I know it's quite different because like if you're from Liverpool or you're from Merseyside, you support either Liverpool or Everton, right? Mainly, and then you have like other clubs. If you're Manchester, it's City or United, basically, right? I don't live in Carlton. Well, you don't live in Carlton. My cousin supports Collingwood. They don't support. They don't live in Collingwood, right? Do you think that is something like? Do you think they used to, like? Did that used to happen? Do you think like if you were born in Carlton, you like just supported Carlton just cause? Do you reckon they used to be a thing? And then it's just like expanded because this country is so small in terms of like the population is so densely
Yeah,
like 40 minutes between each other.
maybe it's an interesting point.
Imagine if that was still a thing. Like who would like we both lived on the eastern side of the city. You're
Yes,
you're further south than me.
yeah.
Who would do you know who your local team would be? Would it be St Kilda?
It would be St Kilda. Yeah, but that's based off. I don't want to give too much away, but it would be St Kilda. I'm not going to say anymore, actually, just for safety.
Yeah,
It would
yeah,
be
yeah,
St Kilda.
yeah. It would be St Kilda. I think mine would be as well, wouldn't it? Would yeah,
I'd say. Well, I don't know.
maybe
I'd say
Hawthorn. I
Hawthorn.
mean, in saying
Yeah,
that, I did go to a barbecue on Saturday, and it was outside VFL Park. It was like in the housing complex around VFL
yeah,
Park. So obviously that's Hawthorn's HQ at the moment, I'm pretty sure. So
yeah.
maybe it would be Hawthorn. Maybe it would be imagine how different that would be if I supported Hawthorn and you supported St Kilda. We would be our mental health would be vastly
Oh,
different throughout the year, wouldn't it? Throughout the years.
well, yes. You say this year, sure, but I'd say in our lifetime would be a completely different spectrums.
Yeah, it would be great. But yeah, I don't know how they got sidetracked, but yeah, okay, that's the initial point I was going to make. So you have like the Northern Sharks or Camp or like the Australian Capital Territory team.
Yeah.
Would it be like we complain about the talent pool? We complain about the talent pool. This is going to be really rogue. We complain about the rogue suggestion. We complain about the talent pool. We complain about everything. If the AFL were like, you know what, let's cut this league. Let's gut it, right? Let's merge. Let's go from 18 teams to 12. And let's make it far more like how do I describe it? Be far more generalized. So you would have like the Western Bulldogs, and then you'd have like the Northern Sharks or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And then you'd have like the Western Eagles or whoever, right? And then you have like South Australia or something like that. What would be? Do you think that would work? Initially, obviously, the uproar would be insane. But if the AFL had that initially, would it be like? How do you think it would work? Do you think it'd work well?
Well, yeah, it would work. I mean, in terms of like a competitive competition, it shouldn't be bad. But
What teams would you have if you had to make like a 12 team? Because
12
I think you'd have to merge you'd have to merge the Queensland teams and make it the Northern Sharks. So there's one. You have a Perth team. You have a WA team. You have a South Australia team.
I don't even think you can hit 12. I don't
Would you
think
have
there is
two?
enough for 12.
Would you?
You'd have to split Vic. You'd have to sort of have like.
It would be like
dare I say you'd merge Carlton Collingwood type stuff. Like it would. That's because
Would you?
Geographically, no. But I'm just saying geographically, if you're going to split to get 12 teams, you would have to like that Carlton Collingwood. I don't know if Essendon might just fall into that Western Bulldogs.
It'd be Carlton Collingwood Richmond,
bracket,
wouldn't it?
Yeah, Richmond would. And then you'd ask who does Melbourne? I guess Melbourne, North, Western Bulldogs probably fall into one, but it's like it would be odd. It would be great in terms of talent pool is just as elite as it possibly can be.
Oh yeah,
but
yeah, it would be all-star teams left, right, and centre.
Yeah, but
it's interesting,
mate. We'll have 24 teams before we have 12 teams. So
oh yeah. Great. Can't wait for that. Well, I made a call that I think we're more likely to go back to 18 than go to 20. I still stand by that.
Maybe. Well, I hope so. I would definitely hope you're right on that. But
I wonder who you would kick out. Okay. Who
seriously, look, no. See, why are you asking me this question?
Okay.
The Giants would be gone. Seriously, quicker. Like, and that
where
stadium
is this
can go as
stemmed
well.
from? Where and the stadium?
Because seriously, you're wasting it. It looks.
Do you think Canberra would be better?
On the
league?
league?
Canberra would be better.
Yes, because and they would get it looks awful on the league. Same as it looks awful on the A League that you have Western United and Macarthur who cannot rack up crowds. And crowd attendance can be poor at times, but there's literally like if you're coming from overseas and someone says, "Hey mate, come watch a game of AFL with me," and you're taking a spotless stadium on a Sunday at 4:40, you don't take it seriously. It is like I have nothing against the people in that team, the players, nothing. It's the fact that they made a team in a place that has absolutely no interest for the sport. It's disrespectful on the history of the game. I get expansion. You got expansion you want, but they don't care. Their history says they love NRL, they love the league. Parramatta, Cronulla, all those teams in the West. You're not going to convert them.
So why would you put one in Canberra then, when they've got the Raiders?
But because they've shown they turn up to the games though. They've got an AFL interest. They've shown whenever you go to Canberra, people turn up to watch them. When you go to Spotless Stadium, no one turns up. But like I said, now I'm a bit now that what I've read that no one knows anyone who's actually ever paid for tickets in Canberra. What makes me sort of think maybe they don't actually care. But based on what we've seen, I'm assuming they do. So,
yeah. Anyways, getting sidetracked. The Northern Suns, which is the original point. If you had to do it, would you do it? If you could wave a magic wand and do it?
Yeah, I would.
Interesting. I feel like it would be... you would get a lot more. I'm just thinking about like the fan base. You would get a lot more because I think it would span across up to Cairns, up to Darwin, even down to like Alice Springs as well, maybe.
Yeah.
It would span, I wouldn't mind that. It would be a logistical nightmare. And I don't think anyone would like try and play there because at least you're based in, you're not based in the city. Well, the HQ would still be in Gold Coast, right? You think, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, let's move on as we can sidetrack or we can segue a little bit quickly from your Giants rant into the Super Sunday that occurred because we'll kick things off. The Giants, obviously, the first game was the Giants Tigers. You caught the last 5 minutes of this game. It was a 39-minute quarter to end the game. Is that like...
It's ridiculous.
That's an insane amount. I think Nathan Ball was speaking about it when I think it was Finn Callahan maybe kicked the goal to put him in front. Or it might have been Briggs out of the ruck. I can't remember. The Giants went in front and everyone thought, there's like 30 seconds left. And then there's like 3.5 minutes left when that happens and everyone's like, what the hell? But that all a very good game of football. I don't know. You obviously didn't watch it because you don't do any research in preparation for this. You have a job, right? That's something that I technically don't have. So there you go.
I'm not getting paid to do what I do. I do it in hope of getting a job. That's the goal.
Well, it's commendable. And you're far more knowledgeable about the young AFL footballers or potential AFL footballers.
When I don't get to watch all the games, I can tell you about the players that will play in these games in the future.
Yeah, in about 3 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
There's something in it.
Yeah, there's something. But yeah, this game there's a couple of things I want to speak about in this game. A couple of things that annoyed me. Not annoyed me, but piqued my interest. Firstly, goal umpires. Now, I don't know if you saw the review that I don't normally tweet about other games. Like I do on occasion, but it's mainly Carl on the Twitter at @R_Y_Stammer. Follow it. But I was watching this game and the dumbest score review I've ever witnessed, seen, watched, listened to, observed in my life. I think it might have been, I don't know, I think it might have been Bedford or something, kicked the ball inside 50 and it bounced. It was going in and then Jesse Hogan kicked it over the line and they went to a score review. What is that? I'm not the first person to speak about goal umpires and how shit they are, right? Because a good friend of mine is very passionate about it as well. Why do we? What's the point? Like, why? Surely we're past them, right? And I hate VAR as well, right? And I know this is going to relate. I hate VAR. I hate technology in football. Yeah. But surely we've got to a point where we don't need them anymore, right? Surely.
Oh, look, I agree with what you're saying. To like it, that it's just sometimes it's just dumb. I feel like you can. It doesn't happen too often where you have an umpire who genuinely just decides they can't see anymore. But then that's on the AFL. Get rid of him. But you can't
Yeah,
get rid of him after one decision.
yeah,
But
but this is not one decision. I'm sorry, this is not one
no, it's
decision.
not. They've done it, but it has to be the same. Multiple times the same umpire's done. Not done, like just seen something and still needed to go to review when it's pretty right there. I just don't understand why. There's someone in their ear, right?
Yeah, I would assume there would be.
If you, who cares if you have to wait? Like seriously, rewind and quickly watch it.
Yeah, just
They
go on
might be
K.
waiting for 10.
Get
You might be
KO
waiting
up.
for exactly. Oh, mate,
Get
you'd be
KO up
waiting
and
about
just
2 hours
rewind.
to rewind that.
Yeah,
Mate, like
maybe.
it's on Paramount Plus, you'd be waiting a couple of days to rewind on
Yeah,
it.
there you go.
But it gets, they got someone in their ear. If you got to wait 10 seconds and get the right decision, not spend 30 seconds reviewing something that just
But the
it's
thing is,
waste time.
the thing is, if I mark the ball 15 out directly in front, right, and I kick it into row Z straight through the middle, I don't need some bloke in a green fucking top to signal that's a goal. We all know it's a goal. We all know the rules. It's a goal. We know it's a goal. Thank you. We get it. They've added another umpire. Surely that umpire could position themselves in a way where they can act as a goal umpire and just signal it themselves and just go like that.
Well, I did think about this the other day. They're there as well. If you've got two people communicating the scores, so they're right.
Yeah.
So this is just something, but I don't know. You do need them because umpires you can't trust to be in the right spot at the right time, and we see that every week. They get themselves in bad positions. I mean, it's easy to just say let's just put robot technology on the goal line and
Get cameras.
should tell you. Well,
Okay, put those vacuums that can you can monitor with your phone and it can go around your house.
yes,
Just get that and put that on the goal line with a camera sticking out of it. That would honestly be better.
no, dude, yeah,
It'd be cheaper as well. Just buy one.
I don't know where I really sit with
You can
it.
tape a GoPro to it.
I really don't know where I sit. Like, yeah, stuff like with what you're talking about just doesn't.
They've added
Sparkles me.
another umpire, and I mean we can speak about the umpiring as well. The umpires suck, but we're not going to be speaking about that. But yeah, I don't know. It just annoyed the shit out of me because this isn't the first occurrence as well. Remember that goal umpire against Melbourne? Was it Melbourne Collingwood? Or I think it might be Collingwood Sydney maybe, where the goal umpire made like 7 reviews, the same goal umpire.
Yeah, the one that makes me laugh is back in I think it was 2011 or 2010, the Collingwood Geelong one, the one that literally got fired because it was a clear goal right in front of him and he called a point.
Yeah.
That's one that makes me laugh.
Yeah, that video of the ABC doing it, that's on YouTube. Oh, footy YouTube culture is so good. That video and Port versus the Bye, those two videos are like
the big pond sport thing.
That is their iconic,
so
iconic nostalgia AFL YouTube moments. It's great. What other AFL YouTube kind of? Do you know that Melbourne parody? That guy that did it in 2013.
Yes, yeah, that.
Yeah,
I checked back on that guy like a year ago. I was like, I wonder where this guy is now. And he didn't actually post after they won the grand final because all the comments were,
he should.
As you can imagine,
he should have done another one after the grand final.
It was. Jeez, you're bringing back some memories now.
Remember the Sportsbet AFL parody with Malthouse and Buckley?
Might as well.
That is awful. I think AFL parody YouTube peaked at 2012 to 2014.
Yeah,
you've had people doing them since, and they're doing it quite well. But they're more like semi-serious, actually okay, kind of semi-decent songs. Whereas the proper piss take ones. There was a couple of car ones as well, which were very funny. Oh, the one with Modhouse and someone that I used to know, or Ratton. After 2012.
I remember that.
Oh,
No.
that is seek that out. That is very funny, very funny.
Anyway, Super Sunday.
Yeah. Anyways, Richmond versus GWS. Yeah. Another thing I want to speak about. Do you have any thoughts about this game? Considering you watched the last 5 minutes of it.
I mean, I did. I just kept checking, and it was goal for goal. Literally, would check my phone every 5 minutes and turned it on in the last 5 minutes, and it was. I thought it was over, and it was weird because whoever kicked the last Giants goal, I think, right, which put him up by
6.
Yeah, put him up by a goal. How long was there left? I mean, there wasn't heaps of time.
There was like 3 minutes left.
Yeah, I mean, 3, and I think I turned it off at around. I had to go home at 2 minutes, but I had to get to the car, right? And I knew by the time I get to the car, the game was on. The game would be finished. Got in the car, turned on the radio, and they're just talking post match. So I don't know what the score is, and I waited 10 minutes for them to say the score.
Why
I
did
don't
you
know which
check
one
your phone?
Because I just want to go home, but I just got in the car to left, right, and then in Richmond won. I was like, so it was. It just looked like a good game from what I was saying.
It was.
Looked full on. We as much as I still will shit on the Giants, but it apparently was their biggest crowd or something in a while. But it's just not down to the Giants. Yeah, apparently it's since pre-COVID. If I had to, I think it was against. I think 2013. I'm confident it was 2013 against Collingwood. I haven't
Which one
got.
Was that? I can't remember that guy.
Regular season, I think. I don't think it includes the prelim.
Yeah, the prelim would have to be the most right, surely.
Yeah.
Because AFL tables updated.
So
AFL tables has updated 9,000 apparently,
which is amazing for them.
Yeah, that's top notch.
Seriously.
Let's move on before we can get into more. I can feel the rage. Coming through the fucking mic. All right, let's I want to speak about one other thing, and it kind of ties into another thing that I saw. Oh yeah, I want to speak about where is he? He didn't actually play that well, but I feel like I want to speak about him regardless. I want to speak about Brett Daniels. Right? I want to speak about Brett Daniels. Now, the reason why I want to speak about Brett Daniels is because AFL was the champion data did like top 10, like and on SEN how the champion data bloke comes on and gives top 10 players, top 10 players, whatever, in the league. Brett Daniels was on that list, and everyone was hanging shit on him. I saw on Twitter and stuff, and on Facebook, and I know obviously Twitter is the World Health Organization is like the collective smartest minds in terms of like science and health and stuff come together.
Yeah.
Twitter is like that, but for AFL opinions, right? If you're not aware. So I want to debunk the theory that Brett Daniels doesn't belong in that list. He's one of those players. I don't know if you have those players that they're just good. Like you just watch them and you're like, yeah, you're good. Like you're not the best player. You're not the worst. You just go out there and just do your role and you're just good. He's one of those players that I really like watching. Maybe it's because he's like my height and like I relate to him in that sense. Same reason why I really like Teddy Betts is because like if you're below 170, I think you have to we have like a union. You know how like 200 plus people have like a union?
Yeah.
We meet up every month. It's great on a Zoom call. It's unreal. So yeah. Do you have any one of those players that you just like? With just love for no reason. It's like almost irrational.
The first one that came to mind, but I don't know if he fits this category. Like I always loved Luke Bruce growing up.
Yeah, no,
But
the
thing is, he was
really good. Like all Australians.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's why I don't know if he really fits the category, but he was just someone that like.
Another player from the Giants I love is Lockie Ash as well.
Yeah,
he's
proved himself very well. And I mean, I love how Finn Callahan plays, but I feel like he'll be very good in a couple of years. So I don't really think he'll fit that criteria very soon.
Yeah, he's a jet. Any other players that you can think of from like peak nostalgia? I also love Trent McKenzie for some reason, just because like he could kick the ball really far. That's another video. That's another video. Oh my god, there's another video. Yes,
there Trent
we go. McKenzie, yes, the one where he's at
60 meters out. It's so awkward as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. The camera
Oh.
work is shit. They don't show any of the goals properly. That is
Yeah, it
another
just
video.
cuts to the ball bouncing. It's
Yeah,
like one
yeah,
of those
yeah.
sort of basketball ones where they
Yeah, yeah. It's like in a movie where
classic.
it's like that how they do it. I'm sure they do it in like Ted Lasso where they can't actually score the ball top bins, so they just like have the
Just have
camera on the
someone there
person shooting.
throwing it in.
Yeah, they just throw it just with a bit of spin, just like in the top corner. Yeah, so there's another video. Holy fuck, that is unbelievable.
But nah, that's yeah. Bruce is probably the first one that comes to mind, but I can't think of anyone else.
Yeah, fair enough. I don't know. I just want to back my boy Binger. That is an unbelievable call. That is an unbelievable call. I love that. I just want to back my boy Binger there because I rate Binger highly. Anyways, the other game that was on Super Sunday was North versus Essendon, and as a Carlton supporter, this actually went really well because get Essendon's hopes up. We don't want Essendon to be having to need to respond against us on Sunday. So they win in a close one, emotions up, and then we just come in and then do well for 5 minutes and then capitulate like we always do. But what were your thoughts on the game? Because I actually watched this game and it was like it was one of those games which was like if you were making dinner and you just had this on in the background, you weren't really paying attention. It didn't really pique your interest until about the last 10 minutes where it was just like goal for goal for goal. And it was actually really tight.
It was I don't know. I enjoyed watching. I caught pretty much most of the second half. It was such an Essendon North Melbourne game though, and we said it last week. Like they're always close. One team's always better than the other, but they're always really close for whatever reason. It was maybe biased saying this. I think North should have won that, and I said this to you pre-thin. I love Harry Sheasel. But this is the second game he's totally come unclutch. He did it against Sydney where he missed a set shot to put him up by 16 with 5-ish minutes to go. Look, this one, I think if people remember, it was in the last quarter. He's running in. He check-side it from 20 meters out.
Yeah.
I don't know if it would have won the game for them, but it definitely would have settled them. It was such a back and forth. You can't honestly sit there and say he was the reason they didn't win the game, but still. So look, there was just great play. He doesn't like he had that clutch at under 18. He's got to get it back at AFL level because he could have already imagine if he did kick these 2 goals we're talking about. Seriously, he would lock for the Rising Star. So, but I was. Don't even. Let's not start this. But
speaking of another thing you hate, did Brisbane play on the weekend?
No, they didn't. I know where you're going with that. I know where you were going with that one. But North just you could tell just sort of crumbled. Essendon home crowd as well. It just like that they couldn't. It felt like every time Essendon went in, they scored.
Yeah, that was that goal from D'Ambrosio late, and it's. I hate when people pronounce it quickly. D'Ambrosio. Surely as an Italian, you hate it as well.
It's always the Aussies that say it. So
yeah,
it was the same with Carazzo. It was
Carazzo,
seriously.
Yeah. Even
ask the player how you say it. It's not that hard.
I mean, there's no Greeks in the AFL. I mean, Mitch Georgiades, but his name is quite easy to pronounce.
Yeah.
Speaking of not being able to pronounce names, Thanasi Kokonakis, off topic, but still kind of on topic. When people say Tanasi, there's a H there.
Yeah.
There is a H.
There's a Falcons, a Geelong Falcons player that good chance of getting picked up. Tom Anastasopoulos. Now already they'll butcher it, and I'll send you this name later. It's about 12 letters long as the Greek last names tend to be.
Yeah, Opoulos.
I can't. That will be absolutely butchered. Without a doubt.
I can't wait. It's gonna be great. They're gonna create some form of nickname because they can't pronounce his name, so they're just gonna shorten it, or they're just gonna refer to him as his first name for whatever reason. Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be. I can't wait for it. Anyways, D'Ambrosio, we sidetrack again. D'Ambrosio, that goal I think typifies what you said before about every time they went inside 50, they just looked like they were going to score because he kind of pulled that out of his ass.
Even the Draper one.
Yeah, even the Draper one as well.
I mean,
that's just You just
It's all
didn't
happening
expect
for them.
that. Yeah, they shouldn't kick those type of goals. That one, yeah, the Draper one were just like I think Phillips. Speaking of Phillips, did you just see that moment where he thought he was Eddie Betts and
Yes, yeah, and he
that is
just
very
kicked it
funny.
about 100 meters in the air
It's
and
still
drops
flying
down.
in the air. Yeah,
It's
but
been,
they kicked the goal from it. So technically, does that count as a
oh, it
goal
was a
assist?
goal assist. Yeah, I'd
But
say so.
is that an effective disposal? Is that the worst effect? Is that the worst effective disposal in the history of the AFL?
I'm sure Lockie O'Brien's probably had worse, but I digress.
You got it. I thought we don't meant to speak about Carlton on this show, for God's sake. Yeah, that's completely thrown me off. Yeah, Lockie O'Brien can't get worst effective disposal. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, Phillips, the Draper goal. Yeah, Phillips went up and then crashed, and
Yeah.
then Draper kind of crumbed it. Where do you sit both of these sides now after that, heading into this round? Both obviously we'll touch on the preview, but do you think what does it do for Essendon? What does it do for Essendon? Does it give them
I mean,
confidence to go
I
in?
still think Essendon sit around the 13, 14, 15 where Carlton and Richmond sit. I don't think they're any better. And you saw that with their game against Richmond. They pulled they
Yeah, they
literally just
had to
pulled
pull
it.
it out of the fire. Yeah,
So I don't think they're any better than that. I genuinely, seriously, looking at this top eight, it's going to be a very weak bottom half of the eight.
it's very
I would
competitive, but not good.
competitive, but it will amount to really nothing when they get to finals. It will just literally be to play in finals. Yeah, interesting. I will say this. I think Carlton will comfortably win this on Sunday, and I will regret saying that. But I
Are you
just
gonna? I mean, you're gonna tip us.
Essendon is
I mean, you're gonna tip us for the
no,
first time this
I'm
year.
not. No way. But I'm just saying I can't do it. I still have to have the win-win thing, right? But
The win insurance. Yeah.
I just don't think they're much chop, and I don't look. It's good to see North that they're improving, but I don't think it said more about North than it did about Essendon in a way. I still don't think they've improved. Like you'd look at their record and it would suggest they have, but I don't know. I'm not very set on them.
Yeah, fair enough. I think this game kind of doesn't really. It's one of those games where when it's close, it's just kind of who wants it more, and that doesn't really typify or that
Yeah.
doesn't really like kind of say anything about the team's ability, in my opinion. Yeah, let's move on. Time's kind of the essence, and that's not like us to go over time. Let's go. Let's move on to a team plan on Saturday. The Dogs. Now the Dogs are good, obviously, right? The Dogs are good. I think they currently sit in somewhere in the top eight. Where do they sit?
They sit seventh, 7 and 5.
Seventh, 7 and 5. Their percentage. They're one game outside of the top four. They're good. Obviously, they're good because of where they are. But are they good? That's the question. Like they're good, but are they good? And that's a kind of question that has been on them pretty much ever since they won the flag. Right? Is that they're good,
Yeah.
but are they actually good? They haven't finished in the top four in this team's era. So this is going to be a very. When do they? I think they have the bye. Not next week, the week after. No, yeah, wait, yeah, no, they have the bye the same week as us, so round 14, and then I don't know what their run home is like, but this is going to be a really interesting kind of next month and a bit. Maybe the two games before the bye, they obviously host Port Adelaide at Marvel, which is going to be a tough game considering Port's record at Marvel, and we'll speak on Port. We'll speak on Port next. And then they versus North at Marvel, and then Freo and the Pies at Marvel. So they play Marvel 4 times in a row. Very important month for them. Very important month to establish themselves. If they can take 3 out of the next 4, I think that kind of puts them into that top four kind of category, in my opinion.
They're an interesting team. It'd be very frustrating to follow purely off the fact they're so inconsistent. It does feel still very similar to last year. Like they possibly may have the biggest difference between their best and their worst.
It's drastic.
I mean, yes, some teams have their, but they don't. They're the team who shows it the most.
I think they're the best team that has the biggest difference.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I mean, it's just such an odd one to call because I don't think they're going to challenge for a premiership. But the thing is, they're probably like the best team out of that weaker half of the eight.
Yeah,
So
I would agree.
just looking at their run home, Giants, Richmond, Hawthorn, West Coast, Geelong. So
That's and that's Geelong in
Geelong in
Geelong.
Geelong. And the only one that's interstate there is Hawthorn in Tassie and lost my track. That's it. Giants
That's
is
it.
also in Marvel. No, it's in Ballarat. So still pretty home groundish for them.
Yeah,
So
realistically, they should win all of their games. Maybe the
yeah,
Geelong one, that's the exception. And that's obviously something that obviously when they made the grand final in 21, they were top four. I think they were top for the last portion of the year, and then lost I think their last three games, and it
yeah.
fell out for the top four. Still made a grand final that year, of course. But if do you think that top four is a little bit of a mental barrier for them, or do you think it doesn't matter because of how deep they've gotten in finals at times?
Look, I think their issue, but if they can hit like their peak form
Yeah, I
towards
think
the
yeah,
back end of the season,
yeah,
then I would say the latter in that case, because they don't really need like let's be honest. I don't think top four matters. Like the only reason it matters for them is double chance because even if they get a home final, it's not a home final because it's at the MCG. So
yeah, fair.
it's probably about hitting their straps at the right time. So
Yeah,
I'd say middle of the season is probably the best time not to be doing it.
yeah, maybe that's what it is. Obviously, the talk, like I said, has been around that top four barrier. They haven't finished in top four in this team's era. Maybe it's not even that. Maybe it's just that they don't hit their peak at the right time. Even when they won the flag, they really desperately needed that bye. They really desperately needed that bye pre finals, I should say. And then even last year as well, they fell in, and they well and truly fell in. They didn't really deserve to be in. They were probably the ninth best team throughout the whole year. So I think it does go back to hitting form at the right time, like you said. Would you would you say, like, when you look at this team now, when you look at this team now, and when you look at the way that they play, obviously the kind of criticism you could assume is of this team in the past is that it's been very midfield heavy. Obviously, you Bont, Dunkley, McRae, Smith, Libba, Lockie Hunter, like when these players were still there, right? How they were so heavily reliant on their midfield and their bookends weren't exactly the best. Of course, their defense has been an issue for quite a while, and their forward line, despite having a bunch of stars like Jamara and Norden bringing in Lob as well, Sam Darcy as well floating in there. At times, they haven't been able to get those areas of the game right. Whereas this year, their defense has been one of their standouts. Obviously, Liam Jones has been I wouldn't say revelation because I don't think he's as good as what people are saying, but their defense has been quite good, right, throughout this year, and it's just a forward line that doesn't seem to tick. Can they win the flag with? I think that's obviously what their aim is, right? We'll look at top four, but also you got to look at the flag. Are they within? Are they in contention to win the flag with the current makeup and the way that they're currently going about it? Because it can be, for a team that has a lot of stars, it can be quite grind like grinding it out at times, which you wouldn't expect.
Yeah, it's tough because I'm not. I just don't think I think it's a game style that won't stack up against your top teams more than anything. The talent's there. It's just, I mean, against teams like Collingwood, where it's just fast running off the turnover, they can't do that. Their forward line is too tall and is not fast enough to
Yeah,
stop that. I don't know. They could. Something just tells me they could get deep
pull it off.
purely
Yeah,
because all the other teams, like especially teams, if they come up against literally Brisbane, definitely Port Adelaide, and Collingwood. Really, I don't know if maybe Melbourne, but like those teams will have the most pressure on them come finals because Port Adelaide, have to win a premiership with that list. Collingwood,
and can as well. Yeah,
Collingwood, it's like
been the best team all year, basically.
being the best team all year. Don't want to historically always choke. And then Brisbane, sort of the same deal. Their premiership
Is now.
window is running out.
Yeah.
So,
Do you
whereas
think that?
Bulldogs, it's like, well, Sorry,
Yeah,
go.
no, I was going to say, do you think they could stave Bradbury and just kind of sneak in because all these other teams are going to capitulate around them because of they're kind of like floating under the radar and just kind of like going through. They might get lucky and verse a they might get lucky versus an Adelaide at the G, in which they'll probably be favourites in the
Yeah.
first week of finals, and then they might verse I don't know, then they might verse Melbourne at the G in the second week, and we've seen that those games can be 50-50 at times, and then they go to a prelim against even Collingwood at the G. With all the talk and hype surrounding that, we saw what happened in 2019 against the Giants. They could really just kind of use the external
Turn up
pressure of
and
the
do
other
it.
teams, yeah, to really Bradbury it through. I wouldn't be surprised, genuinely wouldn't.
No, neither. It's sort of what they like. No, I don't want to compare it to 2016, but it's sort of a similar track, I guess. Oh, look, I don't see any team beating Collingwood at the MCG. That's
What
just
look in 2016, they went over to Perth and beat West Coast. No one thought they'd do that, and then they versed Hawthorn in the second week of the G with 23 points down. And so at one stage, showed that game and won. Granted, they versed the Giants over there, which isn't. I mean, that Giants team
home
was
game.
stacked, but yep, okay. It was a home game for them, yes. And then obviously all of a sudden they're into a grand final. You can't compare it to 2016 in a bit.
Yeah. I'm just, yeah, I don't know. I reckon seriously in 4 weeks' time, we could be saying, yeah, they're done. They're that type of team.
They could
be
lose.
sitting.
Yeah, they could lose.
They could be 10th or 11th in a couple of weeks.
3 of the next 4.
So
easily. It's interesting.
What a weird team.
I know. Moving
All that talent.
Rory Lobb to the wing. Would you reckon they should move Norton back and then play Norton and play Lobb as a key?
No, not at all.
Fair.
What
do you do with Lobb then?
The Footscray Bulldogs, maybe.
Drop him.
Lobb's, I don't know. I've never really liked Lobb for whether it's Free or Bulldogs. There wasn't you who said that, like, if you're above a certain height, you just can't, like, you should not be any other position but like a ruckman. If you're like above,
this is what I said.
Yeah. This is where I'm getting this up.
Yeah. If you are over 210 centimeters, which I think Lobb is 2, I don't think he's 2. I think he's 207.
Yeah, it's that.
I want to get this right. Yeah, but the point is, if you are above, how tall is Rory Lobb? Rory Lobb's 206. I think it was if you're above 205, you're not you're a ruckman. You are a ruckman. You're not a key forward. Yeah. Get out of the 50. You're a ruckman, right? I don't hate it.
It's just odd because I don't know how he's so skinny as well. Like,
he's very gangly.
Yeah, like,
but he's not gangly in like a Joe Danaher sense. Like Danaher is Bambi on ice, right? He just is. Whereas Lobby's like gangly, but not like it's like, you know what I mean? But like he still has like something about it.
It's I don't know, just not really loving him.
So you would say drop him? You would say drop him?
Look, it's probably harsh, but I don't. Seriously, if you compare him and Norton, I mean, it's just
night and day, yeah. And Mujamara in defence. They'll fix it.
That might happen eventually.
Oh, I would hate that so much. I would despise that.
Stranger things have happened. Could happen though.
I mean, Cam Rayner's played defence before, so I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. Before we move on, I mentioned it before, but thank you very much, Lachlan, my friend. If you for the $2, I hope you are well. Let's move on, and we spoke about this team at the start and also at the start of this point. Let's speak about Port. Would you like to take the reins of this one, or would you like?
Oh, sure. Hey, I'll look. As I said, I've said my apologies. I've sat here and said, look, I admit I was wrong. They're a finals team. Still not changing my stance on them being a premiership team. I'm just not convinced. And you know what? I'll take you back a couple of weeks. This is a team who only beat Essendon by 5 points at home. And look at what Essendon are.
Did you watch the first half against Hawthorn?
I was check the score every well, I checked and I thought it was full time. I saw 104 to 23.
Exactly.
Yeah, but it's Hawthorn.
Yeah, but you still have to put the foot
It's
down.
Hawthorn. Yeah, it's impressive, right? But
It's
they've
Hawthorn.
proven they can't do it.
Hawthorn also beat West Coast by 100 points.
Well, Port only beat them by. I mean, it's just funny how that Port only beat them by like what, like it was like 40 something points in the end, which is weird to think about. It was very impressive. You can't deny what they're doing is impressive. It's like, what do they won now? 9 in a row. There's like they have done exactly what they need to do. But I just can't get out of my head what happened in round 2, like against Collingwood.
Well,
like it just
that was
doesn't.
10 weeks ago.
I know it's a long time ago, but it's like, well, it'd just be interesting to see if it was now. Because yes, I guess a lot can change, and I wouldn't expect the same result if it was tomorrow. I don't think they play again, do they?
No, they don't.
They don't play. Oh, they do actually. Round 19.
Yes, they do.
Well, that is your test.
And but even looking at that run home or run into that game, I don't see Port Adelaide losing a game up until that game. They're versus the Dogs at Marvel. We all know how well.
Carlton.
We all know how well Port play Marvel. They'll beat the Dogs, in my opinion, this weekend. They'll beat the Cats at the Oval. They'll beat the Bombers at the G. They'll dismantle the Suns in Adelaide. They'll pip Carlton at Marvel after the siren in a game which Carlton were robbed by the umpires. And then they verse the Pies at the Oval. They could genuinely go into that game having not lost a game.
I mean, they could. Yeah, there definitely is the potential for that. But then after that, they got Adelaide as well, which I'd back Adelaide tough. Because it's the
it's tough,
Adelaide.
Yeah. It's in Adelaide Oval, yeah.
And then Geelong over there, another tough one. So I guess after that, when we get to that Collingwood game, that's when it's 4 other than the Giants. So Freo away, and then the last round is against Richmond. You can't deny that they'll make top 4 with ease.
Yeah,
but they really, unless they're playing anyone else but Collingwood in a grand final, they just like. I've already given into it.
Do you genuinely think though that Collingwood? And I know this is going to be a sidetrack, and I know this is going to feed into the Collingwood bias, which I'm aware kind of fills this show, especially from my perspective. Do you genuinely think Collingwood are going to maintain this level all the way up until a potential grand final, and in which whoever they verse in the grand final of the G, they're going to blow them out the water? Because we saw last year, everyone thought last year that they would do it, and they verse the Cats, and they fall short. I'm fully aware they're so much better this year than what they were last year.
Yeah,
almost to the point where I didn't expect it, but still,
I don't know. It's just looking at the teams around them. I think Collingwood is 50% crowd in a good way. I don't think they would be the team they are without a good crowd.
No, I agree.
So, Port Adelaide, if I'm saying if they make a grand final, and we look at crowds, Port Adelaide, Collingwood in terms of the split, Melbourne, I mean that would just be 70% Collingwood.
Yeah.
Brisbane, 60%, Saints 60%. We won't look past there. We won't look at Essendon. Bulldogs. So there is no team. It's just they feed off that crowd.
Do you think it would matter? Do you think it would matter on grand final day? Assuming,
that's why I don't know, because if we go back to 18, it didn't.
Yeah, exactly, and also Port and Collingwood are the 2 best teams in the comp. Assuming they finish 1-2, and assuming they do what they do, like I didn't say Port Adelaide losing a final at Adelaide Oval. This Port Adelaide team, there's no way they lose a final at Adelaide Oval. If I can speak.
No, unless it's against the Dogs.
Did they lose the
prelim?
Oh, the prelim, or Richmond, yeah. But regardless, I didn't see them losing a final against in Adelaide Oval.
Yeah, no.
So, assuming both of them do what they should do, in terms of Collingwood win the first final, win the prelim, and go through it, and the same with Port. Do you think that crowd will be a factor on grand final day? Because we all know Port will turn up. Port fans will turn up. So I don't think it'll matter.
That'd be a feral place if it was Collingwood.
Oh yeah, Adelaide. It would be. It would be. It would genuinely be like fuck.
Like if WWE, I mean, that's going off.
Genuinely, if it's a Port, like I think in terms of crowd hostility, it probably goes Port. In terms of crowd hostility for a potential grand final, it probably goes Carlton Collingwood, then probably Collingwood Port Adelaide.
Yeah, yeah. It's seriously. I mean, the next one would be Port Adelaide, Port and the Adelaide, the derby.
Yeah,
so
that would be a terrible place to be on grand final day as a neutral. Or would it? It would either be the best atmosphere you could ever think of, or it would be like genuine. This is not safe. Because Collingwood supporters are feral, right? With all due respect, and they know they are, right? Surely, you cannot not be understanding most of your supporter base is quite feral, and even Port Adelaide don't exactly have the cleanest of fans, especially, and couple that with the rivalry that has developed over these two teams. It would be black and white filling the MCG, though, wouldn't it? It would be quite a cool spectacle, wouldn't it?
Hey, winner takes prison bars. That's
imagine that. Winner prison bar on a pole match.
It would be very funny.
Winner takes custody of the prison bars. Imagine it would because you know how like at the grand final it's like black and white and then it's West Coast colours or whatever. It would genuinely just be black and white filling the whole stadium.
Yeah, it would be a spectacle, but it won't happen, and because it's never the best whatever teams, 1 or 2 is,
Yeah, it's never the best 2 teams. Yeah, fair.
I don't know. I just don't think Port have it's just not going to win a premiership. That team.
Do they make a grand quality?
Well, yeah. If they finish top 2, I like you said, unless they choke like they did in those 2 years, they shouldn't lose at Adelaide Oval.
They shouldn't.
Melbourne's really the only. Melbourne's probably the only team that can travel. I don't think Brisbane proved they won't. They will no way go to Adelaide and win. And Melbourne probably can.
Unless the Crows come from nowhere. Imagine a showdown prelim. Oh, I would. Yeah. That would be one of the best games. Because both, in terms of both spectacle and actual football, that would be insane.
It would be good. Wouldn't want to be in that stadium for safety, but I'm sure it would be great.
Yeah, we just watch or just get into a corporate box and just kind of sit there and observe. Peasants. I say that like I go to corporate boxes. I wish. Anyways, time is of the essence, so let's move on. I have Jordan the guy wrote down here, but written down, but we're not going to speak on the other. Move on to our buy round assessment. Only 2 teams with the buy this week, so kind of works out good. Let's start with the Suns. Obviously, we spoke about them a little bit. Not exactly the team, but we spoke about them a little bit before. What do you make of their season to date? It's obviously started quite poorly. It started quite underwhelmingly, but they've hit a little bit of I want to say purple patching form. They obviously beat the Crows in Darwin. They beat the bloody the Dogs in Darwin. Lost the Lions, but they beat the Eagles, and they just couldn't get over the line against the D's. That's their last 5. They sit just outside the 8 with 6 wins, percentage outside the 8, 1 game, 2 games outside the top 4. I know you're not a fan of them, especially traveling. They've technically traveled for two games in a row and won. Technically, What do you? I think the aim is. I think the overall question is: do they make finals? Because that's where you're looking at them from, or are they less a chance?
Well, seriously, if there's a year for them to make it,
it's
this year. They're actually they are average, but if you look at their things, 6 wins, 6 losses, 100%, equal for 4 and again. They're literally as bang average as you can get in terms of where they sit at the moment.
They're exactly on 100% as well.
Yeah, they're exactly on 100%, and 6 win, 50% exactly. But they're like Adelaide. I guess, because they only get their wins at home most of the time. So if they can bank, what do they got to bank? About probably 3 or 4 away games, or maybe 2 or 3 more, because they've lost how many? They've lost 2 at home now. So
Their home games. I think when you look at their home games, Hawthorn should win that comfortably. The Pies, that's going to be a good game. In Gold
yeah,
Coast, that's going to be a good game. We saw last year where it went down to the wire. The Saints, winnable. The Lions, winnable. And the Blues, very, very winnable.
very winnable. So yeah, they're definitely a chance. If there's any year for them to do it, it's got to be this year, especially they run home. It's I don't know.
Well,
I'm
look, they've
very
got one,
undecided.
two, three,
Again, they're like a dogs where they can just like all of a sudden they'll be
four.
out
Yeah.
of top 8 contention.
Yeah, they've got 5 away games. We'll give
You've got
them.
to win at least 3.
We'll give them 4. We'll say they drop one of the Lions or the Pies. I think that's fair. That means they would have to win at least 2 of their away games. Their away games include North in Tassie, the Giants at Monica, and Carlton at the J. Pick up. You have
It's
to
just
pick up
whether
at
they
least
can
one of them.
execute it.
All of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's that. The tools are there for them. We've seen the emergence of a lot of good players this season for them. Matt Rao's taken another step to his game. Jack Lukosius is proving himself to be a very, very good kind of mid-tall forward, maybe second forward alongside King. Bailey Humphrey's come into this team and has set the world alight. He's played a couple of very, very good games already. The defences seem to be holding up quite well. Even in the absence of Touk Miller, they're still winning the midfield battle more often than not. They were able to kick 9 goals, I think, in a row against the Crows on the weekend, where they were able to hold on against the Dogs in the week before. So they've shown both sides of their game, able to be mature enough to hold on after a big lead and being able to overcome a deficit and overcome adversity that way. Guns to your head, do they make it? Because I think they do.
Yeah, right here, right now, I say yes.
Wow, that's a big call from you.
It is a big call. But like I said, that opinion, honestly, with the team like Gold Coast, it can change in a matter of weeks.
Yeah, 100%. No, I agree. I think we're going to be sitting here in a month talking about the first season when they finally make finals or another failed season. So can't wait for either one of those things. Let's move on again quickly to the other team that by names, the Cats. Obviously, the Cats are quite near the Suns. They're on equal points. Both have won 6 games, but the Cats have an 18 plus percentage, sneaking them into 8th place. It's quite funny how all the pressure has been put on Sydney for their premiership hangover, etc. But the Cats have only got one more win over them, and that, of course, was that win against Sydney in Geelong, where Sydney have had no defenders. So, what do you make? Like, I think we spoke about them last week, didn't we? Where we were just like, is it purely injury based, or is there something deeper to this? They obviously played on the weekend and won in did they win? They won, didn't they? No, they lost.
Yeah. No, they lost. No, they won. They beat the Dogs.
Did they? Well, this. You speak about preparation. Yeah, they did beat the Dogs. I thought so. I don't know why I doubted myself. Oh, no, it's because I was listening to the Tradies podcast, and Mitch Cleary and Sam McClure was giving shit to Mitch Cleary about it, and Mitch Cleary was a Geelong supporter. Anyway, they won, as I thought. A win that not a lot of people expected them to win. We obviously both tipped them to lose. Do they sneak in? I feel like I could put a cork through the Cats' premiership chances. Not final chances. I still think they can make the finals. Yeah. Premiership chances.
Yes.
I put a cork through it.
No, see, I reckon they're a lock for finals because we've learned before you don't write them off.
Yeah,
I couldn't care if I'm wrong, but right now I see it like you'll lock them in.
Yeah,
they'll find a way. It's just it always happens.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with it. They're not there for the premiership.
Unless they peak at the right time, but too old, too slow. No, like I genuinely think
Yes.
I genuinely think too old, too slow is the mantra this season for them. Like now, not mantra, but this is the year which it finally is like, yes, they are too old, too slow. Because I just think it's not going to work for them.
Yeah,
I just think it's
okay.
Very nice. Let's finish things up. An hour and 4 minutes. Round 13 preview. as we always do. Let's tip. And last week, I was quite confident, and it came back to bite me. You got 5, I got 4. So
Sure.
that puts me on 53, and that puts you on 69. Well, uh, it's funny. Yeah. So yeah, do I use my double pick this time? Maybe not.
No, nah. You gotta wait. It's got to be after the buys.
Yeah. Okay,
We'll just make it so it has to be after the buys.
Okay, fair, fine. Okay, yeah, because there's no constitution we have to follow for this, is there? So let's move on. Thursday night footy is back, much to my dismay. Unfortunately, everyone knows my opinions on Thursday night footy. I don't really like it, but it's back. Sydney versus the St Kilda Saints at the SCG.
I thought a long night about this. I have this feeling Saints are going to go back to their, we started well and just forgot how to do it. In Sydney makes it tougher. I'm going to say Sydney, but it is very 50-50.
This could be a game in which Max King says, "Give me the ball. I'm going to kick bag of goals."
Yeah.
And I don't think it's going to be that. Actually, I'm going to back the Saints. Going to have to. I need the difference. Port versus the Dogs at Marvel.
Oh, I really want to tip the Dogs. I really want. You know what? Content tip Dogs.
No, not a content tip. No.
What is a content tip then? Because seriously, who's backing the Dogs?
Tipping West Coast over Collingwood. That's a content.
But that's but no, that's a piss take tip. That's not even a content tip. Content tip, I say no. I still say Dogs regardless of what it is.
Okay, fair enough. Hawks Lions at the MCG.
Lions.
Now
you didn't say who you were saying. You didn't say for Dogs. Port.
Obviously Port.
Yeah.
Now Lions Hawks. Do I?
No, well, this isn't a content. This is just literally piss take.
Do I? Is it? They can't travel. No, I'm not going to. I can't do it. I need to play percentages. Adelaide versus West Coast at Adelaide Oval.
Adelaide.
It's going to be a massacre. And actually, will it, or will the pressure get to them and they capitulate?
Oh, seriously, they're the Adelaide Crows. They'll win in Adelaide.
Freo versus Richmond at Optus.
Yeah, another tough one, but based off Freo's. Yeah, I mean, because it's Richmond, right? They're always going to be somewhere near the mark, so we'll be close. I'd be very surprised if Richmond travel and win, but wouldn't be beyond them. Freo.
I'll tip Freo as well. North versus... tune in for this one, folks. North versus GWS at Bloodstone Arena on 3:20.
It's a 3:20 Fox game, so it's like because we've got the 7 game. So
Jesus,
jeez, it's actually tough on a tip. I'd say the Giants.
It is because I'm going to tip the Giants as well.
Yeah,
but Jesus. Come, Essendon. Do it.
Like I said,
do it.
No, because I have to be consistent with this. Like I can't for 1 week only, Fuck it, Carlton.
Yes.
I'm on board this week. I'm on board.
Oh, I've convinced him.
I'm on board.
My Stockholm syndrome has worked.
1 week only, limited time only.
So you think the Suns are going to beat us next week?
Well, we'll see how this week goes.
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
Hey, if it works this week, if we do win this week, I'll keep tipping us until we lose again.
Oh, done. Maybe you're the problem.
Yeah.
Maybe you're the problem.
Maybe I am. Just got to have a bit of hope in them.
We should. Okay, great. D's versus they're versing the Pies. King's birthday.
Oh, seriously.
King's birthday is the stupid holiday. Can I just say? Good that we have made it something with the M&D and the slide. Good that we've actually done something with it. That's very nice. That's very good. Get your beanies. I got it. Very comfortable, very snug on the head. But yeah, overall the birthday sucks. Although the holiday sucks.
Any hope I had in Melbourne just absolutely disappeared on Friday night when I saw how abysmal their fundamentals are. Nearly as they were terrible. They were really bad. Seriously, this could shape up to be such a good game, but it will not be. It will be very bad to watch. I just don't think Melbourne. I think this will be over.
I think it'll be competitive.
I'd hope so, but I think Collingwood will do it so easily.
I think Collingwood will win as well, but I think it'll be competitive. I just think like rising to the occasion. No, surely.
Maybe, but it will be Collingwood 70% crowd, even though it's Melbourne's home game. So
that's with every game at the Jet. Yeah, it's literally us and then Essendon and then maybe Richmond who can compete.
Collingwood.
Fair enough. Yeah, I agree. The Pies will win King's birthday for the second year in a row. I can't quite remember. So yeah, so you've got we differ on the first two games. So I really should catch up more, or try to at least. Great. Okay, lovely stuff. Thank you all very much for watching. We're done again for another week. Nathan, thank you very much for joining me. As always, never at all, always a pleasure. Make sure you subscribe to the Blue Reporter YouTube channel. Very close to 10,000 subscribers. Very close. So if we could get that, that would mean the world to everyone here. Make sure you like the video. Follow both of us on Twitter at @R_Y_Stammer at Nath Seppi. Yeah, subscribe, like. See you guys next week. Thank you for sticking around if you have so. Yeah, goodbye.